Lasius ants, often underestimated due to their small size or how common they are. But being common and inhabiting various places of the planet with different living requirements does make for a very successful ant genus. In today's video, I will give you an update on my Lasius Emarginatus pet ant colony. Welcome to the Ants Vienna Ant Channel. Hello and welcome or welcome back. If you're watching us for the first time, here on Ants Vienna we cover everything you need to know if you want to keep ants as pets. This includes covering the progress of my own colonies and sharing vital information I notice as I keep them to help you improve your experience in ant keeping. So, without further ado, let's get started. Lasius Emarginatus are just one of many species under the Lasius ant genus. What makes them different and potentially interesting? Why would you consider keeping them as your pets? And what should you be aware of when keeping them? These are the most common questions you have to answer yourself and come to understand before making any ant choice, really. So, let me guide you through my experience with my colony up at this point and help you get a better understanding about this species. Now, if you want to help me in return, make sure to smash that thumbs up button if you like the video and don't hesitate to share it with others if you find it helpful. I house my Lasius Emarginatus colony in this self-made DIY Ytong ant farm. If you are interested in the build itself and a tutorial about it, feel free to check the info card in the corner, since this is not the subject of today's video. Okay, so when we refer to the questions above, let's start with what differentiates Emarginatus from their sister species like Lasius niger or Lasius flavus. That is, that Emarginatus like to nest in pre-existing openings, like holes under or in stone or cracks in walls, whether these are made out of stone or wood sometimes. Therefore, these ants can often be found nesting in houses, and many people refer to them as house ants or pests. However, their habit of theirs about nesting in pre-made spaces works perfectly for me, since I love creating my own formicaria and often use aerated concrete, also known as Ytong or Hebel, as a material to do so. Now, the colony moved in this all-in-one nest with 11 workers and the queen. Over the last 6 months, a few workers died and many more were born. The ones who died were nanitics, the first workers a queen ant produces that do not live very long but are very essential and energy efficient to produce and massively help the queen in establishing her colony early on. During the ant season 2021, this colony exploded in population and now has around 30 to 35 loyal worker ants working for it. Now, what else have I noticed while keeping this particular Lasius ant species? I have noticed that their overall growth rate is pretty fast, or at least decent, but the speed at which they produce and grow new colony members is nowhere near that of Lasius niger. For example, a potent Lasius niger queen will hatch around 15 to 25 nanitic workers. Lasius Emarginatus queens I've had, however, usually only produced between 8 and 13 nanitics, which is literally half the amount compared to Lasius niger. So, if you want to go for an absolute game changer in colony growth within the Lasius ant genus, Emarginatus should not be your first pick in that regard. Just a side note here, however, in my area there is a seriously huge Emarginatus colony consisting of tens, if not thousands of workers that is far bigger than everything I've seen in my life at this point in regards to ant colonies. We and 7 other neighbors around us have learned to live with this ant colony, visiting our homes regularly in summer. So, what I want to say with this is, when this species does manage to establish itself in a neighborhood, it does so really well. What I also like about them, on the optical side of things, is that if you look at them closely, you can see that the middle section of the workers, the thorax, is red. This is a nice optical contrast compared to their completely black sister species Lasius niger. But what about you? Do you like Lasius Emarginatus? Which Lasius species is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. Now don't worry, because I'm not done quite yet. More facts to be noted. Lasius Emarginatus have the best eyesight out of all Lasius species I know, and as a result have the fastest reactions when, for example, you try to feed them or disturb them otherwise. That's not only possible due to them being able to see you from further away, but also because they can physically run faster than other Lasius do. So, just a little side tip from yours truly: when feeding Lasius Emarginatus honey water in the test tube, I suggest piercing through the cotton instead of removing it during the process. Otherwise, you risk having ants on your desktop. Finally, what should you be aware of when keeping these species as your pets? The answer to this question results from what we've been discussing so far, actually. Your top priority when keeping these species has to be escape prevention. Whether it is in form of oil, powder, lac, make sure you apply and renew it regularly to avoid the ants escaping and nesting in your house. Also, due to them being fast and hard to feed in the test tube, I suggest introducing them to an outward early on, after the first workers have been born, however. This is going to make your ant feedings a breeze. Plus, Lasius Emarginatus are pretty active on the surface, very much like Lasius niger, and therefore very enjoyable to watch. Speaking of enjoyable, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which of my tips helped you the most or even surprised you down in the comments. I read and answer them all. And if you want to know more about these ants or other ant species, feel free to check out my ant guides that appear on your screen right now.